Elizabeth, what type of album is this?
This is a relationship album. I wouldn't say it's a breakup album. I'd say it's a relationship album because I wrote it like a relationship from start to finish. So when it starts off and it's like really electric and it's really amazing, and then the things that start to get in the middle of everything, and then the way it starts to fall apart, and then just kind of all those emotions that come with it when it crashes and burns, and it has a little bit of everything in that timeline. So it's a collection of relationship emotion.
Why did you feel you needed to write this album?
I felt like this was the one album that I didn't want to actually write. It was something that I felt like I needed to write because I would say that it's my most selfish work of art, because it was something that I needed to write for myself to get through a really bad breakup that I was having that was just like catastrophic, and I didn't feel like I was really going to be done with it until I wrote about it. So it was a very, very long process to come to this point, but I'm really, really proud of every single track.
How long did it take you to write the album?
Too long. I rewrote this album like 4 different times. So I had written an album called Through the Lens. This was when I was still with my ex, and I was like, this is gonna be an album. It was so poppy. It was just so. I hadn't really gone through anything at that time, so I didn't really have anything specifically to write about. It was just good pop tracks. And then kind of hell broke loose, and I rewrote this album twice, and the next time I rewrote it, it was so ballady and it was so like sad songy. It was just depressing. I was like, oh my god, nobody's gonna listen to this album without being like, is she suicidal? Like, what is going on? So I rewrote it again, and then I was so angry with things that were going on that it just sounded like a very angry album. So at that point, I could feel my A&R director getting to the point where like, just pick the tracks. So I felt like this pressure and this tension to pick the tracks, and I was sitting there just looking at all of these pieces of songs, and I was like, what is this album? Like, what am I trying to say? Like, where is this album going? And I kind of just come to like a pivotal moment in my life where just everything was going really, really good for like the first time in a really long time. And I was like, okay, this is a turning point. And I think that's when it kind of clicked to me that I had gone through all of these stages. I had gone through all these different emotions, like anger and hurt, and just bitterness and resentment, and then just being like over it. And so I pulled pieces from every single one of those albums, and it ended up being this like timeline of events, and it was really cool. So that's how it happened. That's just kind of how it played out.
How has becoming a mother influenced your music?
I feel like once I had Tristan, and I just remember being like, I don't want him to be afraid of the world, and I don't want him to be afraid of trying things and going for things and failing at things and succeeding at things. I just want him, but I can't tell him to do that and then not do it. And so it put a fire under my butt to just go and get and do what I want to do and just not care what anybody thinks. And I think it's just made me a better person, a better artist, a better friend, a better family member, because I don't hold back anymore, which is great. I know people are gonna be like, oh God, you were holding back before?
Talk to us about the lineup of songs for I'm Coming Soon.
This place in my relationship where it was just that complete naivety right at the beginning, when it was just like, you know, you're like, oh, nothing could go wrong. Nothing will ever divide us. People coming in to your relationship and people coming into your life that want to tell you, you know, what you can do and where you can go and how to dress and how to act and who to be. I've just never been one of those people that can conform to what people want me to be, and I don't think I ever want to be one of those people. So it didn't fly very well, and people didn't take to it very well. But that's just kind of like a woman's anthem, you know. They don't stay in relationships where everything's dictated for them. And grown-ups is kind of you growing up in a relationship or in life and looking around at people that you have surrounded yourself with and just seeing them not grow with you. And I was just taking a very clear vision of people around me, and I was just getting this like throwback of like, oh my God, I don't want to be this person 10 years from now. I don't want to, like, please don't let me be that, let that be my life. So it's a little bratty. It's a lot of it bratty. I wrote the song He Lost His Way because I didn't know what to say anymore. I just felt like I had a complex a little bit with him, you know, like just being like a young, dumb girl, being like, oh, my love will fix him. And like just like feeling like, I don't know. And I wrote He Lost His Way, and I sent it to him for him to hear when the relationship was over. And I had that track sitting on my computer. I couldn't even like listen to it. I couldn't look at it. I didn't want to touch that track. So when we were picking the songs for this, I felt like it was irresponsible for me to talk about the whole relationship without sharing that pain right there, that honesty. I had no idea that it was going to be a single. And then I had no idea that it was going to blow up the way that it did. To a point where, like, we go out in East Texas and people are like, I've seen your video. I'm like, oh. It's like the one thing every person wants to hear about their music, but like not to that song. Like, I don't want to hear about that song. I don't want to think about that song. But it's great because it means that other people can relate to it. And if it did something like that for someone else, and then I did my job, I guess. But yeah, it was torture for a little bit. And, you know, now I can listen to the album and just hear the songs, but for a while I was like, oh God, I gotta go hear these tracks. It's pretty painful. I wanted to not think about all of the bad things that were happening and just the reality of all of the things that were going on, and I just wanted to put it behind me and just not think about it, not deal with it, and that, I mean, completely unrealistic, but it's just where I was. Life experiences that you just leave behind, and you're like, I just don't want to think about them anymore. So that was kind of the take on Get Behind Me. And this guy was doing open mic night, and we heard the opening part of a Maroon 5 song, and I looked at the girls, and the girls looked at me, and there was a group of us, and it was just kind of this moment where, like, who the heck is this guy gonna try to sing Adam Levine? And his mouth opened and he started singing, and I think it was the first time I was like, I think this is actually better than Adam Levine's rendition. And sure enough, I walked up to him and his sister afterwards, and I was like, I would love to work with you. And it was the first fire under my butt, really, where I was like, I need to get back in the studio, because it really, I felt ready. I felt ready to start. Maybe not to get up and, you know, start performing again, but to start coming back. And he emailed me. He said, I have this track, and I've been looking for someone to duet with me. Just tell me what you think. And I just heard it, and I just kept having to replay it and replay it and replay it because I was so in love with it. And I'm like, yeah, like, I want on this track. I need to be on this track. So Last Call is one of those tracks where the title is a little bit of a double meaning. it really was based off of a conversation that I had told him. I was like, this has got to stop, or I'm going to stop answering my phone. Like, this is going to be it. And he never took me seriously. After I warned him I was going to leave him, he didn't take me seriously. After I warned him I was going to stop taking his calls, if he didn't clean up his act, and he didn't take me seriously. And that final straw happened. He made some actions that you can't come back from. He just said things and did things that there was no way back from that. And it really was the last call. Changed my number, and that was it. But it was also, the double innuendo, just a bar term. Like, you know, he was drinking away our life, and I was the one trying to pick up the pieces, and he didn't care. I mean, it's not even like he didn't know what was happening. Everyone was telling him what was happening. He just honest to God, just didn't care. It was not nearly as dark as how it came out. But when I got that track from Josh Sohan, who's just like, so insane. He's just such a good producer. I didn't even want to sing on it because it was so amazing. And to record it, it was so perfect because it's such a dark song. But it's supposed to be a lullaby. So it was like saying two extreme emotions in one. It was almost like every single mom's anthem of like, I hate your dad for leaving you and leaving us. I hate him for that. But I love you so much. And to have those two emotions in the same song was something I didn't know you could do until me and Josh worked on the song, and it's just pure perfection. And I'm Coming Soon. It was just one of those, like, I wrote it and I was like, I hope I can feel this way one day. And then getting into the studio and just being able to sing it and just love it.
What do you want people to get from this album?
I think there's a little something in there for everyone that has ever been through pain in general. I don't think it has to be in a relationship. Maybe you've never been through a divorce, maybe you've never been through a really bad breakup. I think there's just life application in there. But it's fun and it's pop, and I don't want anybody to think that this is like a woe is me album, and I don't want it. It's not a pining album. I'm not sitting here pining for someone or you know, going over anything. I just felt like it was a necessary story that I hadn't heard in music. So yeah, it's pop and it's fun and it's, you know, it can be lighthearted. It's not so intense. I mean, my voice is not like Christina Aguilera where you hear it and you're gonna cry. But there's enough of lyric rawness and enough of playfulness that I think everyone will enjoy it. I think it's good. We're good. I have to pee.